Tonight, the gang of robbers who left a young girl fighting for her life.
At the moment, she can't walk and she can't talk. She's trying to recognise people around her. She doesn't know I'm her mum.
Do you know who they are? Hello and welcome to Crimewatch Live, here with dozens of detectives on the hunt for some of Britain's most wanted.
And we start with a case that sparked a national debate, an emergency summit in Downing Street, and last week's crackdown on gun crime. It's the murder of Michael Dosunmu, the schoolboy who was one of 3 teenagers murdered in South London in the last month. But Michael was not into guns or gangs. He had never been in trouble with the police, or indeed anybody else. His parents have listened and remained silent as politicians, pundits and the media have jumped on the bandwagon. Now they've decided to speak out because they need your help.
Michael was a loving person. He was serious with his study. He was aiming high. He always promised that he's going to look after myself and the rest of the family.
He was such a very warm, very kind, church-going boy. Michael was into his sports, his books, and his computer games.
He was given a prize for being the most gentle and peace-loving gentleman or gentle boy.
Michael would do everything to make other people happy. He used to do that.
It was only me and Michael at home that night because my dad was in hospital and then my mum was back home in Nigeria. By 11:30, 12, when we were sleeping, and then all of a sudden, I just heard shots. I got up, and then I just saw bullets on the wall. I saw holes on his body, on his back, and he started breathing heavily. And he started breathing. I was like, oh my God, what had happened? I just ran up to him and I turned him over on his bed, and then I dialed 999.
You just calm down, please. I can't understand what you're saying. You're going to have to calm down, okay? To me.
I said, Michael, you can't leave me like this. Michael, wake up.
I need you to place one of your heel of your hand on his breastbone in the centre of his chest.
Okay.
And pump his chest rapidly 15 times for me.
I couldn't feel any pulse.
Right. With your hand up.
At around 3 o'clock a.m., one police officer came to the hospital. He said he's been killed. I just fell down. I don't know what was happening again. So I started crying.
He was only 15. He just turned 15. He's not gonna see his 16th birthday anymore. He's not gonna graduate. He wouldn't drive a car.
It's like if my heart has been ripped off, my joy has been taken away from me.
They just killed him just like that. For what? For what?
For what? What an amazing family. And what an appalling crime you're investigating, Fiona. How many people do you think know who did this?
I think there's at least 20 to 30 people who would have been present when it was planned, who know who did the shooting and now know where the gun is.
You really think there are as many people as that?
Yes, I do, yes.
Why should they come forward? What do you think is going to make them ring Crimewatch?
As you've seen, Michael was a loving family boy. He was only 15 years old. He was executed in his bed at night in his own home. It's horrific what happened to him. He didn't harm anybody. And he clearly didn't deserve this.
Now, we're really not sure of the motive, but one possibility is a vendetta because, and this hasn't really been released, but you suspect that there was an attempt to kill his father a couple of days earlier.
Yes, on the Saturday morning on the 3rd of February at 2:30 a.m, Michael's father received an injury to the back of his head 18 staples alone, stitches in the back of his head, which we're looking into now.
That was why he was in hospital when he heard of what had happened to Michael. Now, people are going to be frightened about calling in. They won't want to be seen to be breaking loyalties and so forth. What can you promise in terms of protecting them?
You say people are going to be frightened, but people have got to come forward. We need the community to work with the police and the criminal community to come forward and talk to us about what has happened. This is a 15-year-old boy who hadn't done anything wrong and tried and for a number of years now have successfully used measures, whether it's anonymity, sort of issues around court and screening, all successfully to get through the conviction and get through the court process.
The weapon that was used, this is an identical one. It's a MAC-10. Now, the armed forces don't like using these weapons. They're virtually stopped because they're uncontrollable, which is why, presumably, it's sprayed all over the wall, apart from anything else. But these are not just rare. These are sort of the things that people like to brag and show off about, presumably.
They are very prestigious. They hold a lot of status and credibility amongst the criminal fraternity. I'm confident this will still be in circulation now.
If I was in the chain that had passed that on, I'm not going to talk to you, of course, because even if I'm appalled at the murder, I don't want to get done myself.
You've got to talk to us. A 15-year-old has been killed. You've got to talk to us. I'm interested only in catching the people who killed Michael.
Only in people
yes.
who killed Michael. OK, now there is some forensic evidence you haven't divulged yet, which could be quite important.
Yes, we have had some forensic opportunities outside the home address of Michael.
Well, they left something outside?
Yes, they left something outside. One person has possibly left something outside, and we're doing forensic testing now, which could be critical.
And you've had witnesses come forward. I know you've had half a dozen people in the underworld who wouldn't normally talk to the police at all already come forward, and some good witnesses as well.
Yes, but at least 6 people from the criminal community, very well respected, have come forward because they are disgusted at what has happened, and they are talking to us now.
You still need some people on an N343 night bus that was going... this is in Peckham in Southampton Way. It's exactly a month ago tonight, who haven't yet come forward. Might not have seen anything, of course.
Yes, we've got 4 buses, at least doing the half an hour at the time of the murder, and those people on the buses we need to speak to.
Well, Fiona, let's hope people will call. For heaven's sake, if you do know anything at all, come forward and help Michael's family and help society as a whole, for heaven's sake. There's a £20,000 reward if that helps. You know the number? 0500 600 600. Details are on our website, bbc.co.uk/crime. Or you can call Crime Stoppers, anonymously, of course, if you want. That's a free phone number, 0800 555 111.
All too often we hear about people being mugged in broad daylight, but now one bunch of thugs has taken things a step further, aided by the new getaway vehicle of choice, the moped. In just one day, in one city, this gang managed to terrorise a neighbourhood and leave 25-year-old Jane Gauntlet in a coma, and all for a handbag and a mobile phone.
Right, we've got a split. Going right into Clifton Hill. It's a loss. Vehicles last seen northbound, heading towards Maida Vale.
This crash marked the end of a busy day for these gang of robbers and mopeds. The victim was lucky to walk away unhurt. Others weren't so lucky.
Jane's life's not going to be the same again. At the moment, she can't walk and she can't talk. She's trying to recognise people around her. She doesn't know I'm her mum.
Five to 4, an hour before the crash. It's the Finchley Road, the same 2 mopeds, the same 4 suspects. 3:15, Townsend Road. Same MO, different victim.
Yeah, cool.
But it was on the Harrow Road, back at lunchtime, the first attack of the day, that these moped menaces showed how callous and dangerous they could be. We're looking at a very serious assault.
Jane is always busy. She's very bright, very bubbly, very caring. She's really enjoying university. She's working hard. I never thought I'd hear those words, but she's working really hard. She cycled every day. She cycled from her home to college. And she would cycle out in the evenings as well. Most evenings she'd go and see friends. It's mother's worst nightmare. I was really, really shocked to get that phone call and just got in the car and came as quickly as possible, just hoping she'd still be alive when I got here. When I saw her, she was in intensive care. She was completely unconscious. She'd had her head shaved and she had a scar of about 8 or 9 inches. She had tubes everywhere. She had the most enormous black eye. She's got a fractured skull and she's got fractures around in her eyes, and everybody says she's got the most beautiful eyes, but behind them there's lots of fractures. She was in intensive care for 2 weeks. I don't think they thought she'd make it through the first operation, and a week in they told us that they didn't think she'd make it through the evening. And I had to watch as people came in to say goodbye to me. As family came in to say goodbye to my daughter, thinking they might never see her again.
Jane had stuff stolen from her. If we could find it, it could help solve the crime. We're looking for a black Basil bike basket, a black handbag containing an LG phone, and we're also looking for a black bike lock and chain, along with Jane's bank cards.
I just wish that these cowards could be brave enough to come forward.
We're looking for 4 young men in the Paddington area. If you're one of them, you really need to think. It's not just robbery, this is a life-threatening assault. The right thing to do is to hand yourself in. And if you're a friend or family member of these boys, you also need to think. Your loved one could be responsible for this attack on an innocent young woman whose injuries will affect her for the rest of her life. Do you want to carry the burden for the rest of yours?
Well, it's just heartbreaking, isn't it? But there is a glimmer of hope, because Jane is making some progress. She can now recognise her mother, but she's still very ill. The things that were taken from her are still missing. Her black handbag, of course. This is the pannier that was on the back of the bike here, Basil pannier. And then a phone just like this, her phone. It's an LG U8180 mobile, and that's missing too. These are really, really important clues. So if you find these things, please hand them in.
This, I'm afraid, is still in the evidence bag, but you can see it's a Biaffe helmet, and that was abandoned. We want to know who owned this. This was abandoned by one of the thieves, and maybe you know whose it was. Also, of the bikes, one of them you'll have seen that crashed in Camden, the black one. We've recovered that, of course, but there's still a silver Typhoon that's missing. That's Y122HMV. Y122HMV. Where is it? Who's been riding it?
And police know there were other attacks that day, believe it or not, and the victims from those haven't come forward. So to complete the jigsaw, they need all the victims, all the witnesses to come forward to get a picture of that day. They want to hear from them, and of course, If you know who these lads are, do the right thing. Call us here in the studio, 0500 600 600. You can text us, 83199, just type CW and then your message. Now, are you ready for the lineup? Here's Detective Constable Rav Wilding with some faces you might just recognise.
Yep, take a good look at this lot. I will tell you what they've done if you tell me where they are. Number one here is 50-year-old Frederick Ferber. He jumped bail after being arrested for possessing indecent images of children. He's got connections in Hampshire and South London, but could well be on the run in Spain. Not hard to spot though, he's a big bloke, 6'4". And number two here is another bail jumper with his head above the crowd. Car dealer Jonathan Thorne is 6'5". He was arrested 4 years ago on suspicion of supplying ecstasy. But his tattoos might give him away though. He's got a Chinese dragon on his left arm and a spread eagle on his right. He's got a list of aliases the size of a phone book, so he could be known to you as Simon Peters, Andrew Nuttall or Jonathan King. And number three here is Nagy El Shaba. He was charged with a rape of a woman in Brighton in 2005, but skipped bail and hasn't been seen since. Despite the fact that police seized his passport, he might be hiding in his native country of Egypt. Now, we don't know the name of number four yet, but we do know exactly what he's been up to. Posing as a professional in need of a nice motor, he uses Auto Trader to buy Audis, BMWs and Mercs, all with fake banker's drafts. He then sells them on cash in hand. So far, he's ripped people off in Birmingham, South Wales, Wiltshire, Avon and Somerset. Porshaw Prison, it's up to you. So if you know where he or the others are, please give us a bell here in the studio, 0500 600 600, or of course you can text us on 83199. Just type CW and then your message.
Coming up, the jewel thieves with comedy disguises, but now the joke's on them because we've got their mugs on camera.
Right, you, get on the floor! Get on the floor! Calm down.
And Rav joins the hunt for the serial conman who's robbed and terrorised countless pensioners.
I'm frightened now of my own shadow. I really am.
Paul Kelly was looking forward to celebrating New Year's Eve with his friends. According to them, this year was going to be his year. So how come he lived to see only 40 minutes of it before being stabbed to death?
Paul was killed in this alleyway, less than an hour into the new year.
Sorry, leave it, all right?
He's not breathing! He's not breathing!
People know who the killer is, they just won't come forward.
To carry your own son's coffin into a church is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Please, darling, eh? Hey, happy New Year to you.
On New Year's Eve, this pub was absolutely packed with people looking to enjoy themselves. Paul was one of those, out for a good night with his friends.
He just made everyone laugh most of the time and then crack odd jokes. He was like a really good person and that's why he was our mate.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1!
We were all just dancing about and that. But he was just giving all our group a hug and really enjoying himself.
Happy New Year, darling.
Shortly after midnight, Paul's friends got involved in an argument in the toilet area of the pub, and Paul came to their assistance.
Guys, come on, pal, come on, eh? No trouble here, mate, all right? Come on, guys, inside.
Paul's killer was not involved in that argument, and for some reason it carried on outside.
I want a word with this because we're not finished.
What are you being like this?
Let's just get back into the pub.
I'm not listening. It's okay.
Shut up. It's not about you, yeah?
Just calm down. Just go. Just go here. Just leave it.
The story out here gets very confused, but what we do know is a young black man approached Paul and attacked him in what can only be described as a frenzied attack.
You alright? Come on, mate. Come on, speak to me, mate. Someone call an ambulance!
I went out, and there to my left I seen a man lying down on the floor. I could see blood, and he looked injured. I thought the man needs help, and the first thing I done was phone the ambulance service.
Go ahead, caller. What's the address of the emergency?
Yes. The Long Acre Tavern on the London Road, Farm.
Okay.
I need ambulances, my lad.
It's male, is it?
Male man, yes.
Are you with him now?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Is he conscious?
No, he's not.
Is he breathing normally?
Is he breathing normally? Is he breathing normally? No, he's not. He's not breathing normally.
He's not breathing normally?
No, he's not.
Is there any serious bleeding?
Yes, there is.
Okay, what I want you to do is lie him flat on his back and remove anything from under his head.
Okay, I'll do that, man. Come in, man. I'm going to here now, then.
They're with you, are they?
Okay, thank you.
He's not breathing!
Please, Paul, come
He's
on.
not breathing, something!
Paul would have died almost immediately. At least one of the stab wounds went directly into his heart. There was absolutely nothing anybody could have done to save him.
Somebody come to your door and say your son's been murdered. It's totally devastating. I wouldn't like to see another family go through this.
It shattered our life. Really has shattered it. I think in my mind I keep thinking it's not him. You know, he's not dead. That they're going to tell me it's a mistake. But it isn't.
But the funeral was very hard. I expect to go first. I don't expect my son to go first. He should have been burying me, not me burying them. Sorry. How do you explain to somebody the hurt they've done?
Well, just devastating for Paul's parents, as you can see there. And Nigel, what the thing is, there must have been about, 30 people outside the Long Acre pub when all this was going on, so someone's got to have seen something.
Yes, there were about 30 people outside the Long Acre Tavern and probably 200 inside. Many of them know who killed Paul. They've seen the effect that this has had on Paul's parents. And I'd ask those people to think about that. This could have been their son, their father, their brother, and they should think about that, and I'd ask them to contact us.
And there's a £10,000 reward, which is not an insignificant amount of money.
No, I think that together with the effect that they've seen it's had on Paul's parents and their conscience, they should contact us, and I'd ask them to.
And the guy who did this, I mean, there was this fight or brawl going on outside, and then he seemed to come out of nowhere completely unconnected with that,
yes,
to stab Paul.
Yes, there was an argument inside the pub. That moved outside. That didn't involve Paul's killer at all. And as you've seen on the film, he came out of the side door and for no reason stabbed Paul. Now I want to know why he got involved.
Of course, lots of witnesses, as you say, and the knife is still missing, isn't it?
Yes, and that's obviously very important. And somebody knows where that knife is. And again, think about the effect it's had on Paul's parents. Think about the reward and contact us.
Well, it's £10,000, that reward. Call Nigel and his team here on 0500 600 600. Or you can ring Crime Stoppers anonymously, if you want to, on 0800 555 111. Now, with some creeps, crooks, criminals, all caught on camera, here's Rav.
Yeah, tell me about it. Right, got your eyes peeled?
This lot are on a night out in Chingford, Essex. They try their luck at a club, but it's members only, and they're not getting in. When talking gets them nowhere, one takes a swing at the doorman. Then, chaos. And what's going on in the corner? One of the bouncers is pushed against a brick wall, beaten and stamped on. He's left with a fractured skull and death in one ear. These two women saw what happened and know who's involved. We need them to come forward. Just down the road in Basildon are two more chancers, sneaking round the Holiday Inn. They pose as guests and blag their way past a cleaner into one of the rooms. They nick car keys and make off in a grey Merc. We think the man in the beige is called Terence. So if you know Terry or his mate, call us. Now here's a robber with no time to spare. In he comes, gun in hand, demanding cash from this bookies in Spalding, Lincolnshire. Once he's got the money, he makes a hasty retreat, but he doesn't spot the camera. Take a good look. Dark glasses, checked scarf, fishing hat, not much of a disguise. Who is he? The man in the black coat looks professional, and he is, at stalking women on the tube. He follows his victim up the escalator. He gets right up close, before slitting the back of her skirt from bottom to top. Another coat, another week, another victim. 3 women assaulted in 1 month. He's got his cheap thrill and looks happy with himself. Let's wipe that smile off his face.
So if you know who they are, you know who to ring. 0500 600 600, or you can text us on 83199. Just type CW and then your message. If you'd like to see any of the CCTV again, you can find it on our website, bbc.co.uk/Crimewatch.
Been a lot of progress since our last programme. You'll have seen in the headlines this week news of a murder that we featured last May, that of Nisha Patel Nasri, the special constable who was stabbed to death on her doorstep in Wembley. If you remember, we interviewed her husband Fadi in our reconstruction. Fadi, as you'll have seen, has now been charged with Nisha's murder, as has another man, Roger Leslie. Of course, we'll bring you more as soon as we can.
Last month we asked your help in finding Mafik Udin. He was wanted on a charge of sexual assault on a 13-year-old girl, but he failed to turn up at court. After the programme, Udin handed himself in, and he's due in court at the end of this month.
We're also looking for a man wanted for a number of sexual assaults in Watford. It must have been his habit of wandering around without his trousers on that caught people's attention. More than 20 viewers called in on the night, all naming the same man. A 37-year-old local has been arrested.
And some news on a case we featured last September. A 48-year-old mother was beaten, raped, left for dead in a gutter in Exeter. I remember this case very well. Police tracked the suspect to Poland, and now a 24-year-old Polish man has been arrested.
And a result on a case from nearly 20 years ago. Keith Slater was a driving instructor from Hull and was murdered on his doorstep. Now, following our reconstruction, police got a crucial call which led them to focus on one Martin Paul Brown, a man, it turned out, who had an unhealthy interest in the occult and who was heard referring to the victim as evil. Brown was finally arrested after a cold case review in 2003 found his DNA at the scene. He's now been convicted and sentenced to life.
We certainly like the next man to be caught, wouldn't we? He's been made preying on the elderly and the vulnerable, his life's work. But now, with the crucial DNA evidence, police think they're closing in. Rav joins the manhunt.
It's certainly changed my life. I'm a wreck now. Never used to be. I'm frightened now of my own shadow. I really am. He has a lot to answer for us, that fella.
That man carefully targeted his victim. Elderly, vulnerable and female. His aim? Talk his way into her home and help himself to her pension.
Yes?
Hello, love, from the council. We're ready to sort your guttering out.
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
Oh, they told us that everybody know.
Oh, right.
I'm the foreman anyway. The lads will be here in a minute, and I just need to get out your back door if I can to have a look at your guttering on top. Is that okay?
Right. Yeah.
Thank you, love. It's smashing.
He came across as quite a nice man. He weren't badly dressed, you know. How does a thief dress, though? You don't know, really, do you?
Yeah, it's me. Yeah, I've had a look. Straightforward enough. How long are you going to be? Oh, that's all right. I'm sure this lady will make me a brie.
Is it tea or coffee?
Tea, please. That'd be great. Yep, I'll see you in a bit then.
When I was making his brew in the kitchen, I turned to him and he weren't there. And then I thought, well, where is he? Right away I thought, oh, my purse.
What are you doing?
What do you mean, what am I doing? Not doing anything.
Where's my purse gone?
I've not got your purse. And you calling me a thief?
No.
He started getting really aggressive. Oh, I was terrified.
Calling me a thief?
No idea.
Our man's callous, but not that clever. He left behind traces of his DNA. It was the breakthrough police needed. They matched it to countless other burglaries in Manchester, Lancashire and South Yorkshire. They had a serial offender on their hands. Now, a geographic profiler has been brought in to join the police task force in the hunt for this man.
So what we're looking at then is 12 forensically linked offences and possibly another 60.
He's actually been committing offences for the last 5 years, so there may well be further ones that we will find out about.
He's got a local accent, but he does have a good knowledge of the area. It does seem to indicate that he's done some research.
All the victims have been elderly. He uses a number of guises to gain access to the houses.
There's no violence in any of this. There's no threats being made towards the victim. He is very plausible.
He's not taking bulky goods, he's not taking anything that requires any thought. He's looking for cash.
A lot of these offences are very, very close to motorways.
That would be the use of some main arterial routes, such as the M60, M62, M6 and M1. What I find interesting is that there's nothing over weekends. It's predominantly days of the week, working days of the week, so there's something which actually prevents him from doing those offences on a weekend.
So police know who he targets, where and when. But now they could have one more crucial piece of evidence.
This guy has been caught on camera walking through the estate where the offender has been most prolific. Could he be our man?
When I go to bed at night, it's there. When I get up at morning, it's there. When I'm sat in church, it's there. I'll never forget it. I can see him stood there. It's like he's still in this house, you know.
At least 12 elderly people have suffered because of this man. How many more victims before he's caught?
So there, well, we know 12 of this man's offences are linked by DNA, aren't they? But they could just be the tip of the iceberg.
Absolutely. You mentioned 12. I think it's more like 60 that I'm told, all over South Yorkshire, Greater Manchester and Lancashire areas. It's got to be stopped. And
the geographical profile, I think so, could be linked to Sheffield?
Yeah, one's been brought in by the police. He's having a look at it and he believes there may well be strong links to Sheffield. Whether it be work, family, whatever, it's no clue they're following up.
And what about what this bloke looks like?
The description we've got is between 5'5" and 5'10", 35 to 55-year-old white guy, local accent, usually pretty clean and clean-shaven as well.
And the thing is, we saw him being quite aggressive in the film, but he can be very, very charming. And in some cases, you told me that the victims don't know they've been burgled until he's long gone.
Until he's already out the door, that's right. But he is absolutely destroying the confidence of these extremely vulnerable people. Many of them don't even want to live in their own homes anymore. They've been literally forced out by this guy.
And let's just see that CCTV again that we saw at the end there, which could be significant.
Absolutely. The guy's caught on camera walking very soon after one of these offences took place. He may be completely innocent, but he may not, and that's the beauty about the DNA. It will eliminate an innocent man. OK, well, we've got to stop him. Call us 0500 600 600. If you've been a victim of this crime or any other crime, the victim support line is 0845 30 30 900. And if you want to get some tips about how to prevent yourself becoming a victim of this kind of crime, this kind of con man, have a look at our website, bbc.co.uk/Crimewatch.
Next, the jewel thieves who think they can get away with it time and time and time again. Well, let's prove them wrong. And this is pretty big leaves stuff. So far, they've nicked watches and jewellery worth well over £1 million, at least in shop value. And it seems they like being on TV because they have featured quite a lot. If you look up there, that's Winchester. They got greedy, incidentally. They went back to Winchester a year later. We'll show you later. They got more than they bargained for when they did. This is Esher in Surrey. That's Birmingham up there. This is Cheltenham. But we're going to start up there in Chester with our reconstruction, and we start where they start, stealing cars.
I need the keys, OK. Yeah, I can see the keys. The Jag was stolen back in July from Tamworth. 7 weeks later, it was parked up here in a secluded back street in Chester. In it was the gang's getaway driver. It seems that most of Chester witnessed what happened.
I heard the sound of breaking glass.
Buggy went flying with a child in it.
We saw a Jag pull up a few houses down.
Driving like absolute lunatics.
3 men got out dressed very oddly indeed.
My heart stopped, basically. It was just, my stomach felt sick.
And at that point, we were very scared for our own safety.
He was taken by surprise when I entered, and he then came towards me and pointed the gun away from the child towards me.
And it's just the 2 rings you want resized?
Yes, please.
I think that's going to be perfect for you.
And I need a battery for my watch, please.
Yeah, I'm sure it
I
should.
told you I shouldn't have bought her all that jewellery, Jane.
Once the gang entered the shop, the clock was ticking.
Very nice. So,
Right, you, get on the floor! Get on the floor!
calm down.
Excuse me, I think they're robbing the place.
Get on the floor! Sod off, or can't you see you're scaring them, lad?
Then move to the back, mate.
Sod off, I'm not getting on the floor at my age. Leave me alone.
Quick, call the police. Tell them it's Walton's.
Move to the back.
Right, okay.
Go on.
57 seconds later, and they're out.
Oh, you all right? Sorry.
For myself personally, it was a terrifying experience. So for someone of such a young age, it must have just been horrific. And I'd imagine it would be something that would stay with him for the rest of his life.
Idiot.
The route out of Chester was carefully planned and rehearsed. Witnesses and CCTV confirm at least 2 dry runs, fortnight before and the day before.
Oh my God! How lunatic! What the hell is going on today?
Idiot.
The gang have done this at least 6 times, with loot totalling over £1 million. But time is running out for these watch thieves, because we have a lot to go on. We know roughly where they live, a good idea of what they look like, but now we just need their names.
Well, so much for their comical disguises. As I said at the beginning, we've got a lot of them on tape, but something they hadn't really bargained for. We've got pretty good pictures of their faces. This is 2 of them on one of their recces in silver BMW. And the guy on the right, that is in the passenger seat, on the left of the car as it faces us, he looks a pretty stocky guy, doesn't he? Big boy.
Yeah, he's pretty distinct, to be honest. He's a big man, really well built, and he's been on quite a few of the jobs in the past, so he's of a large build, so anyone who knows him.
Now, you 2 have had a geographic profiling on this, and you're pretty sure all this focuses around Birmingham. Tell us why.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure it's Birmingham related because the majority of the cars are stolen from Birmingham. The actual Jaguar in the Chester crime was sighted or seen in Birmingham, and we know that the CCTV of them doing recce's leaving the Birmingham area, so the cars are emanating from Birmingham.
Now, we've got an EFID of a guy, we call him the flat cap robber. You've also got a picture of him from one of the robberies itself. There are always 4 on these raids, but not always the same 4.
No, I think it's fair to say there's a number of men involved, maybe a wider circle. Usually there is, as you say, 4 who do it, but they're Asian males, they're black men, they're white men, but there are accents from Birmingham.
You've put a big reward up because you think that the answer to this lies within the underworld. Quite a few people can name
Yes,
it.
there's £30,000 for the conviction of these men. I'm sure somebody tonight in Birmingham knows some of these men, where the cars are, the number plates, or the watches themselves. So,
talking of the watches and the jewellery, if you think you might have bought some of this in good faith, give us a call. You can go to our website and check the serial numbers. They're all on our website. If so, give us a call. Now, I said that these guys made a bit of an error going back to Winchester a second time because the jeweller was ready for them that time. And here they are, wandering in. You can see what happens when they go in. The place is like a TV studio. It's got more cameras, I think, in that shop than we've got here in Television Centre. But they hadn't been bargaining for what happens next, which is anti-bandit smoke. Watch the smoke come down and watch the guys come running out. And also watch what happens when they go outside as a member of the public realises something is wrong and tries to trip one of them up. And very nearly succeeds as well. Please give us a call. We've got to stop these guys before someone gets seriously injured. There's a £30,000 reward for information. Call us, please. 0500 600 600.
It should have been a happy trip to see Grandma at her Sheffield fabric shop. Instead, 8-week-old Ikra Akhtar was grabbed from her mother's arms by an armed robber, had a gun pointed at her, was then thrown 6 feet across the room. I have never heard of anything like this. Marouge, you're Ikra's mum. What on earth happened?
Me and Mum were inside our shop. Ikra was on my lap. A guy opened the door and approached us and started asking for our handbags. I handed over my handbag and then searched the shop. I took my mum's handbag. As he was working himself back up to the shop, my mum ran out through the back entrance to raise the alarm.
So she was just trying to get help running outside?
Yeah, she ran into the chip shop. That's when he grabbed Ikra and put her in a headlock.
So you sort of grabbed her off your lap like that?
Yeah, and put her in a headlock and then pointed the gun towards her. Something from the gun fell onto the floor, and that's when he leaned over and then just chucked Ikra across the room. And
He just chucked her across the floor?
Yeah, her head hurting a metal pole of the chair.
It's just unbelievable, isn't it, someone could do something like that. What was going through your mind?
I was scared. I didn't want to pick her up at first, but I knew I had to. I didn't think I would ever see her again.
I mean, when you did go to pick her up, she was unconscious, wasn't she?
Yeah, I had to shake her, to slap her to gain conscious.
What an ordeal. She's such a beautiful little thing. Look at her asleep there. And how is she now?
She's okay. She's just frightened and she jerks a bit.
So she's startled by noises, that kind of thing?
Yeah, slight noise just triggers her off.
And what about the future? I mean, she's been checked out of the hospital, obviously.
Yeah, she's got a blood clot internally in her head, but they can't do any head scans at the moment because she's so young of age. So we don't know if it's going to affect her in the long run or not.
So you're still waiting to find out about that?
Yeah.
In Zaf Valley, how could anyone do so? It's just unimaginable. What do you know about this guy?
He's a man who's obviously prepared to go to any lengths to get what he wants. He's a local man, spoke with a local accent. He's white. He's aged between 18 and 25 years old. And he's got a round, chubby face. He was wearing at the time a dark-coloured Berghaus jacket and had the hood up and dark trousers.
And we've got a bag just like your bag. That can you hold that up so we can have a look at that?
Certainly.
So that's still missing. So if anyone can put his description together with that bag. And obviously he knew there was going to be money in the shop that day, not something that your mum, I know, is ever going to repeat. Just remind us exactly when it was.
Yes, it was 5:15, so tea time on Monday the 12th of February. Quite a busy time on a fairly busy road, right next door to a chip shop. So there would have been people about going to the chip shop and going home and to and from work.
Now, it may be that there are people within the criminal fraternity who may know who this guy is, who are sheltering him. What would you say to them?
Yes, certainly. Anybody who's prepared to use this level of violence to 2 defenceless ladies, let alone a 6-week-old baby, deserves no honour in protecting this person's identity. And I would ask if anybody knows who that person is to contact me or my officers. And if that needs to be in complete confidence, then in these circumstances, I'm willing to do that.
Okay, well, someone must know who this man is. If you have any doubts about shopping him, just take a look at little Ikra there. Call us with any information you have. 0500 600 600.
Like thousands of others, Beata Brill came to Britain from Poland hoping to build for herself a new life. Instead, it ended here, tragically. Her body, burnt, was found in woodlands in Buckinghamshire. DS Jane Corrigan has been out searching for clues to Beata's last journey.
She planned her future here, and I did not expect that her journey would end so tragically, or that the first time I come here would be after her death. There is so much pain and grief in my heart from losing my child. I don't think it will ever go away for the rest of my life.
Beata's body was found here in these woods on the 29th of July last year.
This is such a beautiful place, and she met such a violent death.
It was really horrific. She'd been beaten over the head at least 22 times. Her body was doused in accelerant and she was set light to.
But you don't believe that she's actually died here?
No, we don't. We believe she was murdered indoors somewhere because her body was wrapped in some sort of bedding with a very distinctive hearts and kisses pattern on it.
So this charring, this is where her body was burnt?
Yes, that's right. Her body was laid down here, but we think she was probably brought by car because the road's only about 20 metres away.
She was full of energy. She wanted to get more out of life. She knew that unemployment is very high in Poland. She thought if she left, she could make a better life for herself elsewhere.
Serious boyfriend, she did modelling work, bar work, but then things started to go downhill. She became very paranoid and was diagnosed as a schizophrenic.
That must have made life so difficult for her.
She couldn't work, she couldn't afford any rent, she couldn't afford food, and she ended up crashing out on people's floors or sleeping rough.
The day before her death, which was the 28th of July, she came here to Leighton.
She did. She took out £15 from the Nationwide Building Society here on Lea Bridge Road at 2:30, and then at 4:30 she got onto the tube at Leighton Station. And we don't know who she was with, what she was doing, where she went that afternoon.
The last time that she was seen is at Leytonstone Tube Station, and that was 11:30 p.m. on the 28th of July.
Yes, we've got her on CCTV in the ticket hall, but you can see she's changed her clothes.
And then she gets on the westbound Central Line train and vanishes.
We've no idea where she was going, where she got off, or whom she may have met. The next 12 hours are total mystery until we find her dead in woods 50 miles away at midday the next day. We really need to know who saw her on that train.
So tragic. She was actually a tiny girl, really, really petite. Somebody could have carried her from the car into the woods when she was already dead. But it's that last journey that you're most interested in.
It is. We saw her boarding the train at Leytonstone at 11:30 at night, and she was wearing this red jacket. Where is she changed? Where has this jacket come from? This could be a vital clue, because they may have known who she was going to meet.
And that bed clothing, obviously, that's very, very important as well. We need to know about that. And the rucksack. Tell us. There's an important story about a rucksack. This is a very similar one, not identical.
There is. There was a business card found in this, and the owner of the business card received a call, and that man that called said he had found her rucksack. The other thing that we'd like to appeal for tonight is we have 9 potential witnesses on that tube, and we have stills of them, and we'd like them to call in. Again, they may be able to provide some information.
OK, so if you were on the tube, please give us a call. And if it was you who really tried to do your citizen's duty, returning this rucksack, doesn't matter what's happened to it, please give us a call. Tell us about it. Give Beata's mum at least some comfort, and for everyone's sake, we need to know who did this. There's a killer out there, and there's a £10,000 reward. 0500 600 600. Now, here's Rav with some more wanted faces.
Yep, let's see what we can do with this lot. My number 5 is Lee Fraser. He's wanted in connection with firearms offence in Surrey. He's thought to have been in possession of a sawn-off shotgun. He's got connections in Boreham Wood in Hertfordshire. Can you connect us to him? 6 is an Albanian man wanted for a fatal stabbing. Gerald Mitre, also known as Aldo Alia, came to the UK illegally about 6 years ago. He's in his mid-20s and works cash in hand. He's known to have worked in car washes around South East London. He's got links in Lewisham and Brighton. He keeps his black hair cut short and he's around 5'10". And number 7 is Lee David Jackson. He's wanted for GBH following an assault on his partner. He's got a Cockney accent and goes by the nicknames Cockney Lee or Jacko. He's known at addresses in Lancashire, Merseyside and Preston. But where's he staying tonight? And finally, our number 8 is Chris Simpson from Oldham, wanted in connection with a brutal attack in a bar in Manchester. The victim needed extensive facial surgery and he lost part of his nose. Now, this mugshot's 9 years old, so what does he look like now? So if you've seen Simpson or any of them, give us a ring here in the studio, 0500 600 600.
One evening last summer, Ramzan Anwar went out in Manchester with his mates. But that night changed his life forever. A vicious racist attack left him blind in one eye. And the weapon? A snooker ball in a sock.
Don't you move! Come on, man! You what?
When you go out on a night out, you go out to have a laugh, not to go out for a fight. How long have we known each other?
We know each other for about 5 or 6 years. We're quite close friends as well, you see. And I mean...
don't like each other.
Like each
Good
other,
friends, really good friends, yeah.
Oh, check that car out.
That's nice,
That's a nice car.
I was thinking about getting some lights from underneath the car, what do you reckon? The neons? Yeah. They're alright, but you've got to be careful, they look a bit cheesy sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
Mind you, you've done everything else to this car, so you might as well.
We all got nice cars, we just go out and... I mean, just
do something. Do something new to the car. You know, make it faster, make it louder. The usual stuff, innit?
Fast drivers.
Yeah, show it off. I'm not a fast driver. I'm
He's alright. And the guy was being really racist, you know, Pakis, come out.
You what? Go on, man! Are you playing out, you fucking? Go on, man! What are you on about? What are you on about? Come on, man! Come on, man! Come on, man! Please, get over here! Come here! These lads are just chasing me here! Racist, man! He's just smashed a bottle on camera! Racist git!
This guy was saying, oh, they're coming to beat me up, and you explain to the bouncer, no, he's threw something at my car, he's shouting racist abuse.
Yes, mate, I tell you, the racist git just come. Get over here! Get off! Oh, don't you move! Get off me, man!
I was on the floor, someone from my right hand side, he's come right at me and swung something at my face. So I don't know what it was, something solid. Tried to open my eyes, you know, I opened both my eyes, and it wouldn't open. I was thinking, I thought to myself, I'm blind. So I've gone into the alleyway, safest place I could see at the time.
That guy had a snooker ball. I seen him swinging it a couple of times.
What? I can't see, man. I can't see. Walk with me. Come on. I can't see. Come on. All right, walk. I just heard it.
It's going to take time to get used to, isn't it? Because obviously when I go out, people just stare at you.
Just walk.
I trip a lot. Because obviously you can't. I don't know why about that. You know, when you're going towards caves, I can't catch no more. I know it's that. I can't catch because obviously that's 2 eyes. Obviously you know where it's coming. It's changed my life a lot, hasn't it? I try being the same person I was, but in a matter of minutes, he's totally flipped my life upside down, hasn't he?
So how can you help? Well, who is the guy in the CCTV for a kick-off? He's in his 20s, 5'10", with a white shirt. Must have been out with his friends that night. Surely someone recognises him. His friends would probably know he's a racist, he's racially abused before, and was a snooker ball attacker one of his mates.
What an absolute creep. I mean, who was he? White male. We know he's about 20, 25. His average height, something like that, 5'8". He had a goatee beard and short blonde hair. And if you remember, he was wearing a jumper with large horizontal stripes, possibly Lacoste, we're not sure. And that strange choice of weapon, somebody must have seen him around with that before. A ball, snooker ball, in a sock or whatever like that.
And the other person that the police would like to hear from tonight is the cab driver, because there's a black cab driver there who probably had the best view of everybody of what was going on. Could be a whole host of reasons why he hasn't come forward.
Well, he probably didn't realise how serious it was.
Well, he still hasn't come forward, and police really, really want to hear from him tonight.
So, please, give us a call here in the studio, 0500 600 600. And let's see how the calls have been going so far. Rav, what can you tell us?
We got some good stuff coming in on the Peckham murder of 15-year-old Michael Dosumu. Do you remember? He'd never been in trouble in the police, and he certainly didn't deserve to die. We've got a few names that are coming in and being put forward for the killers there. Let's hope that leads to them being caught. The Paddington moped robberies, stacks of calls coming in on those attacks. Lots of names put forward, one of which, interestingly, has come up twice. Interestingly enough, several people believe they may have seen some of the outstanding property that police are looking for. And the Paul Kelly murder in Bath, the same name has come up time and time and time again. And I'll tell you what, mate, if you're watching this, you better just hand yourself in. The lines are still very much open. I know they've been very busy recently. If you can't get through, please do keep trying. They will be open till at least midnight tonight. So you can help with any of our cases, please get on the phone and give us a call.
Well, sounds really encouraging, especially the Paul Kelly murder. And remember, our website, if you want to know more, bbc.co.uk/crimewatch. Our phone lines are open until midnight tonight, from 7:30 in the morning till midnight tomorrow.
And stay watching. We're back in, just over, what is it, half an hour now, I think, after the news with the Crimewatch update. So that's 10:35.
Crimewatch itself is back live, of course, on Monday, the 2nd of April.
Meanwhile, whatever happens, please don't have nightmares. Do sleep well. For now, good night.
Good night.